What's up guys, this is the Entrepreneur here today with a new video. Today we're doing something really cool. This is gonna be, if you haven't seen from the title already, how I test fragrances. So I talk about in a lot of my videos about buying the best fragrances for you, only buying the best fragrances, not just having a bunch of clutter. And this is the process that I've come up with myself that's really been helping me recently. Ever since I started doing this, I have not made one bad buy. I have not made one poor decision when it comes to fragrances. This has even helped me pick out some samples. But anyway, this is a great video if you're interested in having a fragrance collection, not necessarily limited in size, but limited in quality. You only want the best. This is the video for you, man. This is what I use to help me weed out all the fragrances I don't really want or need, and to help me only get the best that I really love and appreciate in my collection. So, without further ado, let's kick into these 7 steps. The first one is to always test on skin. Always test on skin. I know I've done this in the past where you walk into a department store, get a paper strip, spray it on there and say, that smells great, I'll buy that. That's crazy because you're gonna put it on your skin, and why are you testing it on paper? You're not gonna spray it on paper. It's a great way to get the basic outline of a scent and to decide if you want to put that on your skin to begin with. But if you're gonna be buying this fragrance, always test it on skin first. Always. That's my first step. The second one is really something. I wish I knew this earlier, but it's often not enough for a fragrance just to smell good. This second step is to actually test wearing it out. Now, that's kind of a pain if you've just got a dab sample, but hey man, do your best. Dab it on you or dump it on you, whatever. Get that stuff on you and get out and try it. It's one thing to like the scent, it's another thing to like wearing it. Now, I get that not everybody cares about what other people think, and I think that's really great, but if even you don't enjoy smelling like whiskey, a good example for me is by Kilian Single Malt. Great fragrance, love smelling it. I don't want to smell like whiskey though. I don't want to smell like a big drenched plum with whiskey. Not for me. I should have tested wearing that out before I bought it. Hopefully you can take this second tip and use it to your advantage so you don't end up with a big expensive buy you regret like that. This third one is kind of boring. Basically, I want you to give it time. Give your fragrance some time, really grow to understand it. If that means ordering a second sample, that's fine. If that means going to Sephora every month to pick up a new little sample sprayer, that's fine. It's worth it. I want you to test your fragrances for at least 6 months. Basically, I've found with my nose is that it takes a long time to really get adjusted to everything that a fragrance does. I've got some great examples I'm going to show you here. The first one I've got is a designer. This is a designer that I really enjoy. Did make my top 15 spring list. This one is from Hermes and it's Terre d'Hermes. Terre d'Hermes took me literally 2 years to appreciate. I did not like this from the first. It's a dirty orange and it's kind of off-putting, but I took my time with it. I didn't rule it out. It's important to know that sometimes it is going to take that long. Going out and just making a buy off of your initial first impressions, that's often not a great call, and you might end up regretting that a few months down the road. So that third tip is, of course, to give it 6 months. That's just a number for me. I give it minimum 6 months. The basic thing is just to keep testing fragrances. If you think there's potential, keep testing it, and if you're gonna like it, you will like it someday. Some fragrances never get better, some get really better, like Terre d'Hermes did for me. That was the third tip. The fourth, quite simple, the 48-hour rule. This is something that I picked up from a Tim Ferriss book. I think it's 4-Hour Work Week. I've talked about it before. When you make up your mind that you really want a fragrance, you really want Terre d'Hermes, you say, okay, I love this. I've got a spot for it in my collection. I've got the money, I see a deal, I'm gonna give it 48 hours. The idea behind this is to make yourself wait and see just how much you actually miss this fragrance, how much you actually think about it, how easy it is for you to live without it. And chances are, if it's not that big a deal, you don't even really think about it for those 48 hours, you don't need it. You're probably not going to wear it. So I think the 48-hour rule is a great little step to take just before pulling the trigger on a buy. So the 48-hour rule is number 4. The 5th tip that I would have you do is to check for similar scents and compare them. So maybe you hear that by Kilian vodka on the rocks smells a lot like Versace Dylan Blue. You like vodka on the rocks, but you've never smelled Dylan Blue for whatever reason. You're the one person on earth that hasn't smelled it. You notice that there's a fragrance similar to vodka on the rocks. You go to Sephora, you pick up a sample of Dylan Blue, and you compare it. You compare the two of them and see what the differences are. There aren't many, but that's the basic idea here. Check for similar scents. Go on Fragrantica, fragrantica.com. Great resource for any frag head. And just type in your fragrance and then look down to, I think it's called Smell Similar, whatever. You're going to see a big row of fragrances that smell similar to your fragrance. Go check out those before you pull the trigger on this scent, because A, maybe there's a cheaper option, and B, maybe one of those is something you'll like a little bit more. So I think comparing to other fragrances is a really good idea before you go out and buy a new bottle. 6th tip I have for you is to check your collection for something similar. Chances are, if you've already got Bleu de Chanel, like I do, you don't need Versace Dylan Blue. They do almost the exact same thing. They're very, very similar fragrances. The note breakdown is super similar. I'm not saying they're identical, but they are close, and I mean, if you've got one, you probably don't need the other. So it never hurts to check your collection for something similar. And also, don't rule out checking out fragrances that share the same notes. In a recent video, I talked about comparing Atelier Cologne Bergamote Soleil to Serjoff Neo. They're both great bergamot fragrances, but Neo's better to me. So make sure to compare with other fragrances that share a similar note profile. Because if you got 2 bergamot scents and you only reach for one, then why do you own the other one? That's my thoughts anyway. So that was the 6th thing. The 7th step I have for you is to get an affordable deal. This sounds straightforward, but sometimes with new releases, I find we can just go out there and throw a bunch of money at something, or maybe for something that you pay for extra presentation, like a by Kilian, you go out and you throw too much money at something when you could get it at a much discounted rate. That's something I think we're all guilty of, and it's something that we could all work on, as finding an affordable deal. If you can find a tester for $100 cheaper, but you don't get the by Kilian coffin, buy the tester. Buy the tester, why not? Then you've got another $100. You can do something in real life, or you can even put it towards some more fragrances if that's what you want. This is kind of the last step that I think you should take, and it's, like I said, it sounds so straightforward, but basically never pay retail. If at all possible, and if you do, try and get it on a day where they offer free shipping, or maybe they throw in some really cool samples with it. Try and get something. Don't just pay full store retail, unless you're doing like a big niche shopping haul where you're not gonna find these fragrances anywhere. I don't see a need to buy anything at retail in store. Basically, save money, man. Do whatever you can, buy it in the affordable way, look for deals. That is the last tip that I really had for you, and if you follow all of those 7, I think you're gonna have an awesome buy on your hands. Whether you're buying a designer fragrance, a niche fragrance, a cheap fragrance, does not matter. I think you can implement these steps anywhere. That's been my video, guys. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think of my 7 steps? Do you follow similar ones yourself? And if you've been following something like these, have they helped you make better buys and avoid some poor buys? This has been The Sentrepreneur. If you enjoyed this video and haven't done so already and you want to see a bunch of new fragrance content, please subscribe down below to my YouTube channel. Also, toss this video a big thumbs up. That'd be wicked. Also, hit that bell to see whenever I come out with a new video, get notified. Follow me on Snapchat to see scents of the days, pickups, samples, whatever. Down there, my name is in the description. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It ran a little long. Hey man, just trying to help. I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day.